Hi, Possum Patty from Pennsylvania here with a bit of a retrospective. You know I love my Strathmore 500 series mixed media journals, and I completed 10 of these journals. But before I got these journals, I had these cheaper Pro Art journals. I think they were like about $5 each. I have 4 of them here that I did. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my life before the Strathmore 500 series journals. I'm just going to tell you right to start with that I really do like this kind of bound journal better. This is the Jane Davenport. Than these spirals. I just find these metal rings to be annoying and in the way, and I kind of feel like it's a notebook that I can rip things out of. That's detrimental to my art process. I found if I do work in a journal that's bound that I tend not to pull out any pages. So I'm just probably going to do this in 2 parts or more because I have 4 of these journals. And we're going to start with this one, which was from 2013. And I started this with botany notes. So some of these journals are just a lot of botany notes. As you can see, taking notes while on a walk, talking about leaves. I tend to draw a lot of leaves. More botany notes, more leaves. Went to some lectures. Just notes from lectures and botany notes and more lecture and more botany notes. And more notes. Just botany notes. Talking about the shapes of leaves. Different plant families. Taking a botany walk. So this is more like a notebook with a lot of notes, some diagrams, parts of a flower. More notes on different plant families, the mint family. Wow, this one has a lot of botany notes. Here I was meeting people to go on a botany walk, and I arrived early, so I sketched the trunk of a tree. And I was trying to sketch some flowers as we were walking along very quickly. Things that we saw on the walk. Some more spring flowers. These were just very quick sketches while we were walking along looking at different plants. This was an activity I did one winter. I went through a bunch of catalogs and magazines and I cut out pictures of different kinds of flowers and I pre-pasted them into this journal, and then I left the journal on the breakfast table. I guess this was the beginning of my Art and Oatmeal series, and as I was eating breakfast I would just sketch and doodle the flowers that were on the page. I like how these iris came out with the ink, just the ink lines, no color. Different kind of spring bulbs. This one I put a little bit of glitter on, don't know why. Some days I'm just in a glitter mood. Again, these are all done during breakfast because I had pre-pasted these pictures in, and I would just open up the book and start sketching. some zinnias. I call these Art and Oatmeal Breakfast Blooms. I like these. Look like little butterflies, don't they, coming off the flower. It's a cute design. Practicing getting the morning glory shapes. It's kind of like a funnel shape. This was in colored pencil. And then kind of going from a more realistic flower to a design flower. So from the photograph to a realistic colored pencil drawing to more of a design. Some poppies. Trying to get the poppy petals look like they were bending up. On this page, I was taking a course at Joanne Sharp's Bloom and Doodles, and these were inspired by Joanne Sharp's page. I really like these. Very colorful, fun and funky flowers. More color pencil. Sitting in a parking lot, drawing a tree. And there's a little piece of mineral down here, sparkly. Sketching a dinosaur at the museum. Never finished that one. Down at the lake, sketching the trillium and the bloodroot. Jack-in-the-pulpit, spring flowers. Sometimes I take notes, like down here it says woodpecker, rat-a-tat-tat-tat. So if I see a butterfly or a bird, or I hear something, sometimes I'll make a note on the page. Some more flowers from the botany walk. Some cinnamon ferns. Different flowers coming up in the springtime. Mitrewort. More notes on spring flowers. Went to the botany walk early, sketched a tree that was in the parking lot. And more botany walks, pile of rocks by the stream. Just some botany notes. And I just wanted to draw a fun, funky robin. This is 2016, so I guess different points in time I picked this book up and did different doodles and things. Didn't finish it right through all at one time. Trying another design for Fat Robin. Kind of like this one better than that one. Here's some more doodles. These were hollyhocks. The real voyage of discovery consists not of seeing new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So there's a tree trunk, and this was a tree trunk I did in ink on more of a Bristol kind of paper. Glued that in. The little sparrow I did. And again, I glued this in here. This was on a, I think, Bristol paper. I'm doing a leaf rubbing. Some blind contours, different leaves. Taking some notes about the tulip poplar tree. I like the shape of this leaf. It reminds me of a rabbit. Doing some printing. Apples. And making designs out of it. This was at the North Museum. We're still printing, and I printed this fish with bits of celery. So the scales are actually a celery stalk that I was printing with. Playing with different kinds of lettering. This was another Joanne Sharp course. Whimsical lettering. Doing some rubbings. color pencil crayon, the plume markers where you paint the leaf and then try and print them on the paper. Page that never got finished. I was going to draw 6 different kinds of mulberry leaves because they're all different shapes on the same tree. This was different lines, practicing different lines using just your finger, moving from the wrist and moving from the shoulder. This was learning how to draw flowers with symmetrical petals. It's a 3 and a 6. How to set up the point so you get the petals evenly spaced. How to draw flowers that have a disc. So if you move the disc, the side where the petals will look shorter on that side and longer on this side. Learning how to bend leaves, make them more realistic, twisting them and bending them. Back to doing some more blooming doodles, some daylilies. Colored pencil, some more daylilies. I didn't write down what these were. It's probably Neocolor 2s, water soluble. Page not done. Trying to do a rock here, rock shape. Getting the angles and planes on a rock. What a step would look like going back. Crocus. I took the sketchbook to the beach. And I was sitting on the shore sketching. My husband went in the water and he had his glasses on and a big wave came and took his glasses. And this is him out in the waves feeling around with his toes trying to find his glasses in the sand at the bottom of the ocean. This was at Belmar Beach in New Jersey. Sketching some seagulls on the beach. This one looked like he had attitude, seagull attitude. Oh, more seagulls. This one I was trying to show the head bending down as he was cleaning his feathers. This one had his neck all squashed in. It says, "No one touches my potato chip." Doing some thumbnail sketching. Should have taken more notes about where these things were. This was notes on a book I was reading. It's The Invention of Nature, Alexander von Humboldt's New World. It's a really good book. And I took a lot of notes. And that was my first pro art book. And let's do one more. I think this is the second one, although they seem to be kind of messed up a little bit. This is a pencil and pen, I think. Tritone colored pencils and micron pen. Sketching across the street at the apple orchard using a pen, do some apples in the trunk of the apple tree, and then using one of those magic pencils to color it in. I like the way the limbs of the tree go out. I have a sample of a serpentine rock. I have a natural sample and I have a polished round one. Some flower studies. This is Malva. Some more flower studies. And more flower studies with a butterfly, yellow cone flowers. This was at Middle Creek Wildlife Management Center. It's a red oak tree. red oak leaf. Doing a little bit of a Zentangle. This was at a car show, Shawstown Lions Club car show. Chicken dinner, Kaufman's Chicken Barbecue. Sketch an old Ford. Really funky tires on this one. Upside down. It's a plant hanging on the front porch, and this was just with a pen, just doodling with pens. It's a tree at Nolde Forest, it says. Driving to Connecticut, I brought a little plastic dinosaur and I put it on the dashboard. And first I sketched it with magic pencil, and then I went over it with the ink. Practiced some cross-hatching. Another quick sketch of a dinosaur with little notes to Roz Stendhal. This was a flower arrangement at my son's wedding with sunflowers and starfish and 3 big candles. Sketching out in the barn cats. This one had big paws. Sketching the horse. Just some quick sketches while sitting on a bale of hay. Face is too thin. Face is much fatter than that. And more cats. Cats were playing. They were cute. Cats in action. And the horse and the kittens again. And black cats and orange gourds. Trying to practice some horse parts. One of the kittens was sitting in my lap while I was sketching. More horse parts. And more kittens. And they were working on the pipeline. Sketch some of the men and the machinery. Some more machinery down by the pipeline. Here I was working on my Possum Patty character. Different designs for eyes and glasses. More character development. This was for a page in one of these. I had started on my Strathmore journals, but I felt that when I first bought these they were too precious to sketch in, so I kept sketching in these $5 journals and then putting the finished project in the other journal. More Possum Patties. More machinery at the pipeline. Men at work. This was for a story I did, Sketchbook School. Again, the finished one is in the Strathmore Journal. And these are notes that I sketched to do a finished page in the Strathmore Journal when we went to the Lidditz Farmers Market. Sketching a duo singing, playing the guitar. Waitress at the cafe. Best little shed in Lidditz. Designing another character. Trying to get the headband, make a design for her scarf. This was a flower girl at my son's wedding. His wedding was on the beach, and the little flower girls hiked up their gowns and threw off their shoes and jumped to play in the sand in the middle of the ceremony. This was a giant ant in front of the museum. I was doing some sketches before I put them in my other book. Sounds silly, you're doing sketches in a sketchbook before you put the sketch into another sketchbook, but kind of got over that a little bit. Outside the Reading Public Museum, doing some sketching up at Hawk Mountain. Some little owls. This is Rosalie Edge, conservationist. Sketching at Cabela's fish tank. Trying to sketch the fish as they were swimming around. Some more fish from Cabela's. And more fish from Cabela's. And this is some pre-sketching I did before I did a page in the Strathmore 500 series journal. I think this is probably actually, I like this better than the one I put in the other book. Sketching some people sitting in a cafe in Lebanon using a magic pencil and ink. Some faces from the cafe. Trying to sketch some hands. A man walking by with a cane. I think I was just trying the acrylic marker to see what worked with it, see which pens would write on top of acrylic marker. This is my little leaf card I was designing. Notes from a botany walk, and notes from a botany walk, and notes from a botany walk, and some blind contour drawings. Some tiger lily studies out in the garden. More tiger lily studies. And more tiger lily studies. And I was going to do a little story about rocks. I never finished this. Maybe someday I'll go back and finish that story. And designing a page that wound up in my other journal, Groundhog Day. Working on mushroom shapes. I made a stencil out of this. And I believe I made stencils out of these mushroom shapes. And this was a stamp that I had carved. And this was a design for a sketchbook school assignment. And more mushroom shapes. And this is a robin eating a worm. Maybe that was a stencil, I'm not sure. Early bird stretches the worm. And that is it. So those are my first 2 Pro Art books. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.